All right, so we are quickly approaching Christmas time, and you know what that means. Some of the best prices on first-party Nintendo games that are out there, period. This is not technically marketed as any kind of holiday sale, but it is going on, and we actually have some of the best prices we've seen on a lot of different first-party games. Couple quick disclaimers: it is exclusively on physical software, so we are not talking about any kind of eShop related sales in this video. Nothing is digital on the list we will be going through, but rather a physical game that you will get shipped to your doorstep. Part 2 is this is an Amazon owned company by the name of Woot. You may have heard of them, you may have not, because Amazon doesn't really advertise them so much, but I purchased from them myself. Brand new games show up. It is a little bit slower than Prime shipping, so you get it a few days after you order it, as opposed to like next day sometimes you can get with Prime shipping and stuff. You legitimately use your Amazon account, if you have one, to actually make purchases through this Amazon owned company, woot.com. But anyway, most all of the biggest discounts that we're going to be talking about is coming from this retailer, so just to get that out of the way, and then I will have DekuDeals.com, which is the website we will be looking at, linked in the description down below under the sources section if you do want to go through this list in detail, because we're probably going to cover the first 3 to 4 pages of it. It continues to go on. Most of the big first party discounts are on those initial pages, but there's some really good finds and some of the lowest prices we've had so far on a lot of first party Nintendo software. So we'll get on the same page with all of that, but before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And with that, we'll hop right over to DekuDeals.com to walk through these sales. All right, so the first thing I want to point out when you're navigating this said website, DekuDeals.com, they actually have all of the different various retailers that are selling these games discounted available, so you can actually compare it. If it's just Amazon is the one that's on sale for this one, you can compare that with the eShop price, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, like all of the big retailers here in the US region at least. So just know that as you're going through this, if you're clicking on things, you can actually pick which retailer, and while they will always show the lowest price on screen, it's possible that if you click it, it might not be Woot, it might be a different retailer. But right out of the gate, starting off with some first-party Nintendo software, which is really what we're mainly going to highlight because it is a rarity to see these games discounted. A staple that, of course, came out in the first year that the Switch launched is Super Mario Odyssey. It is a massive 3D Mario adventure, top tier platformer, a ton of fun. If you know anything about 3D Mario games from N64 era and onward, like, it's hard not to enjoy these games, to be honest, and it's a staple must own for any Nintendo Switch owner in my opinion. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is quite honestly my favorite Kirby entry in the franchise, and this is of course regular $60. It is discounted down to $39.99 right now. Another 3D action adventure platformer with boss fights very similar to that are found in Mario games, but Kirby has a lot of personality and various different forms that we see from Kirby for the first time, like being a vending machine if you want to in this game, like whenever you come across that and you can shoot out cans. It's kind of ridiculous, over the top type stuff. Tons of power-ups, really exciting, cool, bright, vibrant gameplay, and at that $40 price point, definitely worth taking a second look at, in my opinion. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is very challenging. They do have an easy mode, fortunately, with Funky Kong, but very challenging 2D action-adventure platformer. Crazy fun boss fights, really cool stages and worlds as you progress through this game. It's one that I honestly am ready to go back and play just for fun. Donkey Kong has some of the peak 2D platforming to be experienced in gaming, period, and this is another great pickup at a $20 off its regular retail price. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is marked down to $41.99 right now, and this one, of course, a re-release of a Wii U classic in Super Mario 3D World, but Bowser's Fury is actually kind of, in my opinion, Nintendo testing the waters with a little bit more of a open sandbox play style for like a 3D Mario game, and it's hours of content that you'll enjoy besides the entire Mario 3D World that comes with it. It's essentially 2 gameplay experiences in one, and they actually made some tweaks to 3D Mario World to make it more enjoyable, such as they sped up the gameplay by about 30%. You can play online with your friends or locally, and with all the content available between both Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, I think it's a steal at that price. Now, one game that is actually the highest priced first-party Nintendo Switch game, it's regularly $70. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is on sale for $44.99 as part of this. We may not see this game go any lower than that anywhere, even over the holiday season. If you're somebody who is waiting for a good, decent sale on Tears of the Kingdom and you feel like it's time to pick it up, this is probably the best opportunity to do so. It does match its all-time previous low, meaning this game has never been sold, at least in the US region, for any less than that from any major retailer, at least in brand new condition. So Tears of the Kingdom literally does everything that Breath of the Wild does, but elevates it to another level. Sky Islands above Hyrule, a more in-depth and filled out Hyrule this time around, and an entire underground section that, quite honestly, it's just massive to get through all the content that's in this game. 100 hours plus easy if you mainly do the main story and a few just side objectives to kind of build out your character. You're probably looking at 60-65 hours worth of gameplay, all super enjoyable. The Zelda team got super creative with what you can actually do in the gameplay mechanics on this one, and there's technically so many different ways to solve puzzles that you just wouldn't ever think of. It's kind of funny if you play it with somebody around the same time that they're progressing. You can literally come up with solutions that are entirely different from each other on how to progress, and that's a really fun feeling in the modern day Zeldas. So Tears of the Kingdom also has a top tier story in a Zelda game, one of the best in the entire franchise, and I wouldn't sleep on it if you're a Zelda fan at all. Definitely get it in your collection at some point in time. Now at $44.99 is a great opportunity to do so. Super Mario Party is marked down to $39.99. This is the first Mario Party that was released on the Nintendo Switch. I am currently enjoying Jamboree, and I would actually say the extra 20 bucks, you probably should just pick up that one at a brand new release. But Super Mario Party, not a bad pickup if you're more into the motion-based games, which I'm very happy so far with Jamboree having a mix of motion and button-based controls, but almost entirely like Joy-Con motion-based for Super Mario Party is how they built this, and it's a little bit lighter on content than Jamboree as well. So again, that's my recommendation. The newest Mario Party out is Super Mario Party Jamboree. It's a full price $60 right now, but if you don't own this one and you do want to own it at some point in time, 20 bucks off or $39.99 is definitely better than that 60 full retail. From there, we have Yoshi's Crafted World, a very fun, cutesy type of game, very easy for somebody younger to play it, as well as it is notoriously not difficult at all, but lots of color, lots of vibrance, lots of unique levels and boss battles to be experienced, and not a bad price at 40 bucks. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, the most recent Zelda game that was just released on the Switch. It's of course regular full price 60. This is an excellent top-down 2D Zelda adventure. You play as Princess Zelda this time for the first time in the franchise. That's really cool as well, because speaking about in Tears of the Kingdom how there's different ways to solve puzzles, that same thing is present here, because you actually have different echoes that you summon in. There is a variety of ways to handle enemies and puzzles, excellent dungeon structure as well, as that's one thing that traditional Zelda fans that have been playing for the whole franchise like myself maybe have a little bit of a complaint with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom era dungeons. They're just a little bit different than anything we had in the prior Zelda games, and this is a true return to form in my opinion with the dungeon structure. Excellent boss fights as well. I really enjoyed my entire start to finish experience with Echoes of Wisdom, and it's a strong recommendation from me at a $50 price point. Scrolling down from there, or actually across from there rather, new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Now Mario Wonder is definitely going to be the better one to pick up in my opinion, that I will recommend. We'll get to in just a moment because I don't think it's been on the list yet. Anyway, new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe is kind of more of that classic 2D Mario game experience, but just with a fresh coat of paint, and you can play up to 4-player co-op, which is enjoyable as well. This one didn't really stick out. It kind of got to the point where Nintendo was releasing these new Super Mario Bros. Games, and they all kind of felt like a little bit of the same, more of the same, if you will. So it's not the most creative. It doesn't have the best levels and story and everything, in my opinion, but it's 2D Mario that you can play with a group of up to 4 people locally, and still some good fun at a $44 price point. From there, we have Zelda Skyward Sword HD, which is a remaster of a Wii era Zelda entry, a 3D Zelda game that it did not have quite the best fanfare and reaction the first time around, just because you could only play this game with the heavily motion-based controls. Literally, that's how the game is designed. Fortunately, Nintendo does give you the option to maintain that motion control style play if that's what you like, or you can just have traditional buttons, and essentially your sword is mapped to your right analog stick, so any direction that you swing with that, or press rather, on the analog stick is what direction your sword is going to go. And this was really well done. A great origin story for the Legend of Zelda franchise. It's actually technically the first entry in the timeline, so some really cool implications for the history of Hyrule as a whole. And definitely, while it's probably one of my weaker 3D Zelda games in my opinion, it is still a ton of fun from start to finish, and hardcore fans of Zelda should absolutely have it in their library in my opinion. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, another very recent release that is on sale right now for $44.99. This is a great pickup for Mario RPG fans, because this is a turn-based RPG, very story heavy and a lot of fun, regarded as one of the best entries in the Paper Mario franchise by far. And this was just out in May of this year, so really recent. and it is matching a previous low price. Like, it's never been sold for less than this for new at $44.99 right now. That's the physical edition, as all of these games are physical. I think it's a great pickup at that price point. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I think it's a masterful 2D action adventure platformer. Yes, it has co-op play up to 4 players, but really, you could go through this whole game yourself, start to finish. It starts off a little bit on the easier side. The difficulty absolutely ramps up towards the end of the game, and especially into the special world. The Wonder Flower mechanic and just how creative Nintendo got with that particular gameplay mechanic is honestly astounding. It literally transforms every level. Every level feels like it comes alive at a certain point. It has some of the most expressive NPCs in a Mario game ever, and it's just a good, honest fun if you like the old era of Mario games where you're scrolling from left to right 2D style, but really have some creative liberties taken with the team on this one. Like, Nintendo just let them run wild, and it's absolutely great. Top tier 2D experience in the Mario Bros. Franchise, in my opinion. Legitimately, for me, only next to Super Mario World, which is, you know, and Mario 3 is in that conversation as well, but there's some excellent platformers from the past. This is right up there with them, in my personal opinion. Continuing on down, we have Fire Emblem Engage at $39.99 or 33% off right now as well. A turn-based tactical style RPG with heavy story elements. Still one that I need to get out of my backlog because I do own it and haven't played it yet, but another one that you don't commonly find on sale, so did want to mention that at that $39.99 price point. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which this is going to be in bundles over the holiday season. I actually wouldn't sweat picking this up at a $50 price point, even though it's regularly $60. Like, it's a huge game. It's a ton of fun. But if you're going to be getting a new Switch by any chance over the holiday season, just get it as the bundle included game, because that will be the go-to pack-in that Nintendo has essentially copy-pasted for just about every year since they've been doing bundles for the Nintendo Switch systems over the holiday season. But this is the most successful selling piece of software on the Nintendo Switch for a reason. And, you know, with 96 total playable tracks, including the Booster Course Pass DLC, there's so much content. It's just hours and hours of fun. And that's from both a multiplayer and even online single-player experience, or even just playing through the game single player yourself. It's a top-tier experience in my opinion, but $50, just $10 off its regular price. I would try to get it in a bundle if you are going to be picking up a Switch over the holiday season. So Kirby Star Allies from there, $39.99. This is definitely not as high up on the recommendation list as something like Forgotten Land, but a 2D entry for Kirby, and definitely on the easier side in terms of difficulty as well. There is co-op play supported, but again, out of the Forgotten Land and this one, I would definitely pick up Forgotten Land first, just my personal recommendation. And then we'll just kind of quickly breeze through this last page very briefly here. So the Pokemon games are on sale right now. So Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is a different experience. It's more motion based. You throw the Pokeball with the Joy-Con to essentially catch your Pokemon. It's a little bit more simple as far as how the battle structure and everything is set up, but it's still a ton of fun. And I really enjoyed shiny hunting in that game more than anything. Literally spent hours because of the mechanic of having to chain combo, catching the same Pokemon over and over, and that actually makes your odds of getting a shiny version of that way higher. You can have hundreds of hours of fun in this game, and it is entirely based around like the remake of the original Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, so definitely not a bad price at $39.99. And if you want the more open world modern Pokemon experience, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet being discounted to $40 is also a good deal. This is the first kind of Pokemon game where they drop you into the world and you can technically go in any direction, even go straight into areas that you're going to be way under leveled, but it's entirely up to you on how you approach it. And there's kind of like 3 different story arcs that are going on at once. The games did have some performance problems, and they really still do, to be fair, but very fun experiences overall, and would highly recommend them at that $40 price point. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is a Wii era port of a classic Kirby game that's also discounted to $40 right now. Not a first party Nintendo game, but Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown for $25 is a steal. Any Metroidvania fan out there, definitely look into that. And with that, we'll kind of end it here. I have this linked in my description down below if you want to go through any of these sales and deals pages in more detail, and let me know if you're going to be picking up anything for you or a loved one over the Christmas time season that we are quickly approaching. So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.